Hello, and welcome to an episode of Drinking the Kool-Aid. This is a comedy podcast dedicated to the mysterious. My name is Cassidy.
My name's Amanda.
Here we are for another beautiful week in the pod room.
Beautiful week in the pod room.
The pod room.
Like the girls' room.
Oh, yeah.
You remember from the Amanda show?
From the Amanda show.
And then the girl's like, I like eggs.
Yep. She does say that.
Which is kind of like me.
You do like eggs.
I love eggs.
We were talking about this week.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had a hard-boiled egg yesterday.
Was it one that you died?
I did. Yeah, it was one that I died.
That makes sense.
Can't let them go to waste.
No, you can't. I used to not be able to eat the ones that I died because I thought that like chemicals went into the actual egg.
Girl, we got so many more chemicals you got to be worried about. You should be worried about
No.
the chemicals they put in the chickens that make the eggs.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I'm a kid, I don't think about that. I just think
We were very different kids.
and that's why we are the way we are today.
For real.
You know what I mean? How was your Easter?
It was very fun. Not as eventful as yours, I don't believe. You were a Miss Out of Town.
I was Miss Out of Town.
Yeah.
Miss Out of Here.
Miss
Sayonara, sucker.
Miscommunication.
I wasn't really communicating with you. That is true.
No, whenever you're out of town, I just expect I'm not going to hear from you, or you're going to send me, because you're always on the East Coast. So I'll get like a weird text at like 4 a.m. because that's when you woke up over there.
That's fair. Yeah.
And then I'll answer and you'll be asleep already by the time I wake up.
True, real. Yeah. No, I had a lovely weekend with my family, my cousins, my uncle, my best friends from the East Coast that I went to high school with. We took my friend's son, Teddy, to Chili's, and he had his first chocolate molten lava cake.
That's a formative moment for a child.
When I tell you, he lost his damn mind.
Oh, you've ruined him for life.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't send you this video. You got to see it.
You sent me a picture of him looking very happy.
He lost his mind.
Yeah, I believe it.
He was trying to get up out of his little seat and he was like like freaking out.
You just gave him ADHD.
Listen, he's a Chili's baby, okay? What do you want from me?
There are pros and cons to that, let me tell you.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, and look at us. We're the most two mentally unwell people anyone's ever met.
Well,
no one's looking at their baby and being like, oh, I hope it's a Cassidy.
That's true.
Nobody's ever said that about a baby. Even me, as a baby named Cassidy, no one's ever said that.
I know. Meanwhile, you always love to send me TikToks being like, this is me with your future baby. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like making the baby the worst baby ever. Making it like a weird goth baby.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait.
Well, it's either that or no baby. I don't know what to tell you, Amanda.
Those are your only options.
Those are your only options. Weird goth baby that Cassidy, because it's going to like me a lot.
No, because that's the funny thing about you.
Well, babies love me.
I know. It's literally hilarious to watch.
Yeah. I'm like a baby magnet. You put me in any sort of like social situation where there's like a smattering of adults and a smattering of babies.
Yeah.
The babies, I'm like the Pied Piper. They're showing up. They're literally coming up like in a zombie state. Like, they love me.
I actually have witnessed this for myself many times. They flock to you and then you talk to them like they're a baby, right? And Cassidy's like, hey, what's up?
That's why they like me, I think. I just talk to them like they're grown-ups.
Yeah. Meanwhile, half of them don't speak, but they still are just
They don't speak English yet, but
True.
they're going to eventually.
That's true.
Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that baby's going to speak Spanish.
True.
Maybe that baby's going to know Cantonese. I don't know.
I actually did buy Teddy a gift that when you press a button, it speaks like 4 different languages. I said he is going to be multilingual.
Dude, that's one thing that I'm like pissed off about, like in the way our education system works, is that there's so many studies and so many countries put this into practice that learning multiple languages is nearly like easy when you're a child, like if you're under a certain age. Yet we don't start taking classes until at the earliest
junior high.
I think I took like a basic Spanish class in junior high.
Same.
But then it's too late.
Yeah. And then I am not able to remember anything. Like
Girl, I failed Spanish twice.
Did you?
Yeah. That's why I ended up doing sign language, which guess what? When I was in elementary school, I had a sign language class.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. See, I feel like these things are just important overall. Like everyone should learn these things. Everyone should learn sign language. Everyone should learn other languages from the time that they're in elementary school.
Yeah.
We should be teaching kids other languages in kindergarten.
Once again, they do it in like every other country. And that's why when you go to Europe, they all speak English and German and French and they know Latin for some reason.
I'm so mad that I'm not bilingual.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
It makes me furious.
I have tried. I've tried so hard. I've taken Spanish classes as an adult human being, trying to understand it because I live in a community that a lot of Spanish speakers live in. And I think it's the respectful thing to do. And I genuinely am so bad at it. I know like a couple key words.
I know,
and even that's not good.
I know a lot of insults.
I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing about nothing. I know how to ask where the bathroom is, and that's it. Dude, I tried to order in Spanish the other day at a restaurant because my server did not speak any English. And it's all just stuff I know how to say, like quesadilla and burrito. And I still panicked and fucked it up so bad. They brought somebody over who spoke English to talk to me. It was so humiliating.
That's embarrassing.
It was so humiliating. Like, I've lived in Southern California for almost 15 years. Like, that is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm not good by any means, but I've been taught by people that I work with, like phrases or just like words and stuff. So I can kind of like understand and like get by with some stuff.
So many of my friends speak Spanish fluently.
And you still can't.
And I really can't do it. My brain, it's like a blockade in there. It's so bad. It's so embarrassing.
Let's get on what are those like apps? Like Rosetta Stone?
I did Duolingo for like 4 years trying to learn Spanish. Didn't work. But then, know what I found out? Apparently, allegedly, there's some opinions that are not mine. I'm just regurgitating them. That Duolingo is a total scam.
Is it?
Well, think, how many people do you know that use Duolingo? Like probably quite a few.
Yeah.
How many of them can speak that language?
I don't know.
And
Great question.
Now I keep seeing memes that are like, when you go up to a motherfucker and ask him to say one sentence in the language he's been doing Duolingo for 5 years.
Well, because don't you only learn like one word at a time? In Duolingo?
No, you learn like full sentences and all this different. I don't know.
Maybe that's why the Duolingo owl died.
Yeah, fuck that owl.
Yeah, remember he died?
Yeah.
So maybe that's why. Because they were like, they wanted to kill him off before they found out that he was a scammer.
Well, and now don't use Duolingo because they fired a bunch of workers and because they're using AI to do their technology now.
What the?
I'm sorry. If
that
you
needs
use
to
AI,
go.
If you use AI for like literally anything, I do think that I'm a better person than you. And I don't feel bad about saying it. If you need AI to type an email, guys, that's not in a direction that we need to be going.
No.
We're already so close to that movie Idiocracy. I do not need AI making you guys stupider. All right?
I can't like form sentences very well, I feel like. And even I try my best to come up with emails in my own words.
Guess what? That is what friendship and support is for. Because how much better are you at writing emails? Because you used to send me the drafts and I would go, well, if you word it like this or you change this, it just comes off a little.
I still do. I still send it to you.
No, I know, but you're so much better.
Yeah.
You're so much better.
Like I'll be like, can you just make sure that this sounds like an adult wrote it?
You learned a skill. You got better at a skill because you like actively took a critique instead of asking some bullshit app what to do.
That's true.
I hate it.
And look at me now, guys.
And look at her now.
You can be just like me.
I'm so anti-AI. I'm so anti-AI, it would probably piss half of you off if I even said 3 more words about it. So here we go.
Yeah, rein it in. Rein it in.
Stop using those apps. Stop putting pictures of your kids into AI apps. Why do you think they need to generate pictures of children on AI? Stop doing that. What are you doing? And it's because most people just don't think of it, right? So I'm hoping now they'll maybe think about, hey, why am I putting a picture of my baby into an app so that they can, why would they ever need to generate pictures of children Why would they ever need to do that? Why would they need to do that?
I thought you were going to stop when you said, if I say
Sorry.
more words, and then you kept going.
Me?
That's crazy.
Piss people off?
Who are you?
The person who's bullying Star Wars fans online about other things that piss me off?
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's fine.
Well, I can't stand that either when people do they're talking about serious subjects and they won't use real human adult words.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if I hear graped one more time, oh my gosh, I'm going to burn down the internet.
Do it. Burn down the internet.
Okay.
I dare you.
Okay. I just got to find the servers. Me who doesn't know how the internet works.
You who literally said, I don't understand Wi-Fi. It's just in the air. It's just the air.
Why'd you make me British?
I don't know.
I just unplugged my own Wi-Fi router and I'm like, there, that'll do it.
I broke the internet.
I've broken the internet. Call me Kim Kardashian. I broke the internet.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, not to switch gears here,
Ooh,
but
okay.
absolutely to switch gears because I have been
Let's hear it.
biting at the bit, chomping at the bit. Well, I say biting because
it's about
vampires,
sinners, perhaps.
Okay, guys.
I spent half of that movie watching Amanda, by the way. We were not even sitting next to each other, so I had to lean forward like this.
No, there was two people in between me and Cassidy at the movie.
And I was fully leaned forward, seeing her reaction to certain scenes.
So we saw Sinners.
10 out of 10, by the way.
Holy macaroni.
It's not all hype.
It is. So let me be honest with you guys. The only reason I saw the movie, because I had no interest. I didn't even know what it was about.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew that vampires were involved, but usually I'm not really interested in those kinds of movies. I'm like, I'm over it. Michael B. Jordan clearly was the only reason I wanted to see this movie.
And FOMO.
Because everyone else was going.
The rest of our friend group was going. So suddenly Amanda was like, we're actually buying tickets right now. What row are you guys in?
Yeah, I was like, I actually do want to see it. And you guys can't see a Michael B. Jordan movie without me. That's insulting.
Honestly, can you imagine how annoyed you would be right now if me and Kate had seen it?
Yeah.
And you hadn't seen
and
it?
you guys were talking about how good it was?
Yeah.
I would have been
and
pissed.
I was like, it's fine, Kate. I'll just text you on the side all the memes. You would be scratching your skin off.
Yeah.
Like a crazy person.
Also, I don't know if you noticed, I'm wearing vampire fang earrings.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah.
Cute.
Because this is my new personality.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're also in all black?
I love vampires
Okay,
now.
so now she's a vampire girly.
I love vampires now.
We went home and watched 30 Days of Night after we watched that movie, which another great vampire movie.
You guys, this movie is so fucking good. And if you haven't seen it yet, you literally need to see it right now.
It's so good that we got home and immediately all started texting each other that we wanted to go see it again, immediately.
Because it's so. This was how I was describing it to my husband. He was like, "That is a great, just a great way to put it." Because it was the most entertaining movie,
yes,
from start to finish that I have ever seen.
Well, and it combined two of my personal favorite genres, which is a 1930s crime gangster movie combined with vampires, like a horror vampire, but also an act. It was more of it's more action. If you're someone who gets scared really easy, my fiance does not like horror movies.
It wasn't scary.
He gets scared really easy. He loved it and he agrees too. It was more action horror, not
it was thrillery.
It was more thrillery.
Action.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't horror.
Yeah, no, there was no parts. I mean,
in the beginning,
there was two jump, but even the jump scares aren't classic jump scares.
Yeah.
They're the way they cut the movie and used music was really unique.
I would say the first scene, I was like, there was those two jump scares.
Yeah, but even that was a cut and music. It wasn't actually something scary happening.
But I went into this blind. I didn't know anything.
I had never even seen the trailer.
Yeah,
I just knew.
I didn't know that. I didn't see it either.
I just knew that the director is really good at what he did. That all the cast was amazing, and I knew it was about vampires, and I like all those things.
And my husband was like, "There's music involved," and I was like, "Is this a musical?" I didn't know what I was walking into.
It was almost kind of like a musical.
It was it was historical.
Mm-hmm.
It was comedic.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little spooky.
Mm-hmm.
It's
more witchy, I would say,
witchy.
than like any. Yeah, it's very witchy.
It was sexy.
It was sexy.
And it was so good. I'm this might be like one of like my new favorite movies. Like I loved it.
No, I agree. I was very, very impressed. The casting choices.
2 Michael B. Jordans. Not 1, 2.
And just the way, I mean, obviously the themes of the movie, like there's a lot of, it's set in the Jim Crow South. So there's a lot of themes about like racism and Black culture, and how that intertwines with like colonialism as a whole, and how that affects Christianity, and how that has been something that's been implicated onto tons of cultures throughout the world. And a lot of it has been driven by the idea of Christianity and all this stuff. And like, and here's the thing, you can watch the movie and not give a shit about any of that stuff and still enjoy the movie. Or if you're someone like me who likes to dig into that type of stuff, there's an endless supply.
I was gonna say, I feel like you can't watch the movie without really.
No, I mean you'll get the themes.
Yeah.
Unless you're dumb.
Yeah.
Unless you need AI to describe a movie plot to you.
But the whole first half of the movie felt like I was watching this like historical.
Yeah, it was like a 1930s
South and about Black
like
culture.
Gangsters. Yeah. Like
and I was like,
crime.
and I was like, this is so interesting. I didn't know where it was going. I didn't know where we were going, but I was like, wow, what an interesting. I was engaged the whole fucking movie.
Yeah. Oh, that movie could have been easily. And I'm the first person to say I think movies should be shorter, like 90% of the time. That's the first thing I always say when I critique a movie. I'm like, that should have been like 30 minutes shorter.
That was a little
longer.
Too long.
That could have been 2 hours longer, and I would have been sitting there glued to my seat the entire time.
Me too.
And had nary a complaint.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good.
Also, don't know if you realized the hats that Michael B. Jordans were wearing was kind of like,
one was a fedora and the other one was a newsy hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we were just talking about hats a lot last
last week
episode.
Because one worked with the Italians and the other one worked with the Irish.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, they look great in hats. Or he looks, I guess it's just one guy, but he looks great in hats.
It is funny that I feel like the easiest way to put you into a period piece is hats.
Yeah.
Because like hats were such a big thing for so long. And now it's just like everybody, dude, just wear baseball caps. You know what I mean? But yeah. God, it was a really fantastic movie. The acting was incredible. Everybody knocked it out of the park. There was not a single actor or performance in that I didn't absolutely love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blown away. That kid who this was his first movie ever.
So good.
What was his name? Miles Catton. Miles Catton.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
His voice, not only his singing voice, his just
deep
speaking voice is
very
so unique.
Low, deep voice.
This kid's got a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah.
He's super talented. Apparently he can actually play guitar like that. So
you guys go see it if you haven't, and also go see it because now being a vampire will be 75% of my personality.
I will say I would have folded
and become a vampire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me too.
No spoilers, but you'll know the scene that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When you see it. Like, yeah, sold.
Also, the second
say no more,
I see just like a hot, sexy vampire, I'm gonna be like, let's go.
Do you want to know? Okay, so we went and saw it with, it was me, Amanda, both of our husbands, and then our friends Kate and Connie. And I was like, yeah, I would, if all my friends became vampires, I would immediately say yes.
Same.
And they both were like, no, I could never become a vampire. Okay, but if
everyone else, if you were the only one that wasn't gonna live forever and be a vampire, and everyone else is, and also, by the way, they look like they're having a great fucking time.
They do. They look like they're having a really good time.
I would get FOMO.
I would have caved so fast.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm not gonna try to stay alive while everyone else is having a good time.
Well, that's
being a vampire.
The thing too, is like, I know that also you'd be like, well, what's the point of being alive now? All my friends are gone. Like they left.
If all of you guys were vampires and my husband, why the of course.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you and Andrew got turned, no problem.
Yeah.
I'd be like, not even a single hesitation.
I'd be like, bite me right fucking now. Like, what do you mean? There wouldn't even be a thought in my brain.
Thank you. Because I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah,
I would think. But I was like, I feel like I'm in a hostile environment right now.
Well, I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you.
That you weren't there for me when I really needed you, Amanda. when I really needed you to tell me that it's okay that I want to become a half demon, half human hybrid.
Yeah, I would have just held your hand and I would have said, same.
Me too, bestie. Now let's go find some vampires.
Yes.
But yeah, so go see the movie. It's very good.
So good.
This is clearly not a paid ad. We're just big fans.
I just have been waiting so eagerly to just
I
talk
know.
about it. I'm
I
like,
know.
oh, so good.
Ugh, and all the memes are good.
All the memes are good.
I love to watch all the analysis.
I might go see it again with our friend Kathy.
I want to go see it again because I feel like there's stuff in it that I'm hearing people talk about that I'm like, I think I might have missed that. Because like it's very, very jam-packed with subtleties and also in-your-face stuff. So you get kind of the best of both worlds.
I think I missed stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, yeah, there was stuff we were talking about where you were like, girl, I didn't even
Yeah,
catch on to that at
what?
all. But like I said, there's like very in-your-face themes and then there's kind of more subtle themes and stuff that could, is up to interpretation. And I think that's like, that's what makes good art,
Completely agree.
Yeah. Well, I know some people who know some good art.
Ooh.
And it's the people who joined our Patreon this week.
It's the people who know that we are good
that we're good art. Hello. So let's welcome our new cool kids.
Let's do it.
So welcome to Lauren M.
Hello, Lauren.
Welcome to Grace G.
Hello, Grace.
Welcome to Sam.
Sam, hello.
Welcome to Bree.
Hi, Bree.
Welcome to Alicia M.
Hello, Alicia.
And welcome to Dixie C.
Hello, Dixie.
Thank you guys so much for joining our Patreon. As you know, this is most of the reason we get to keep doing this podcast, and we absolutely love doing it. We have a ton of fun stuff on Patreon right now. We have a new episode of Shot of Kool-Aid coming out this week. We have we're almost wrapping up our book club.
Yes,
we have our first Haunted Helen update out, and just tons of fun stuff. And even if you join at the lowest level, you will get all of the Haunted Helen content. You will get the S-Word series. You will get our Shot of Kool-Aid, and you will get ad-free episodes. So it's worth joining, even if you just want a community to chat with about the podcast.
It also just means the world to us.
Yeah.
And
totally dig ya.
Underworld.
The Underworld. Ooh.
Because I'm a vampire.
Another great vampire series. I love Underworld. Did you ever watch it?
No, I never really was a honestly, aside from Twilight, I was never like a vampire bitch.
You gotta watch Underworld. You gotta watch 30 Days of Night.
I just don't think anything's going to compare to this.
Well, I mean, they're different movies, but you just said that you're going to be all about vampires. So either be about it or be about it, girl.
No, you're right.
Well, before we get started, how about we also talk about some people who bought us some beers?
Let's do that.
So I wanted to say thank you to Aria. And Aria says, hello, ladies. I wanted to share my appreciation for you both and shout out my very good friend Mauve for recommending you to me back in August of 2022. August of 2020. Wow.
Oh, wow.
You're like an OG.
Yeah, I was going to say, long time listener.
I've been a patron for a few years now, and I've listened to every episode like 2 to 3 times at this point. I've always enjoyed zoning out and listening while doing chores at home. Thanks for being around and stay awesome. P.S. I hope y'all have enjoyed the random memes that I send you on Instagram.
Love a random meme. Love a random TikTok.
Oh, always.
My fave.
And thank you to Michelle P, who bought us some beers and said, hi, I wanted to buy y'all some beers to celebrate my 33rd birthday.
33!
It was on April 23rd. Oh, so literally just 2 days ago.
Oh my gosh.
And I also tested positive for COVID that day.
Oh, not great.
Hashtag throwback. Anyway, I'm doing fine, so no worries. But I love listening to you guys to feel like I'm not just sitting alone in my house spiraling. You're my favorite parasocial relationship, and I tell everyone about the podcast. Cheers.
Aww.
Well, cheers to you. I hope you can have a little bit of fun when you feel better and aren't, contagious.
Yes. 33 is a great age to be.
It's a good number.
Great number.
It's a hot number.
Very hot.
But you already know that.
You do.
Because you're there right now.
Yeah. Except with the COVID and everything.
That's not ideal.
That's not great.
But, what can you do?
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. And thank you for the beers. I was going to tell you about some really old animals.
What do you mean?
I got on a kick to find out what animals live the longest this week.
Okay. Let me know.
And
lay it on me, baby.
I don't know if you know this, but there's a clam, the ocean quahog clam.
Clam.
A clam.
Okay. I thought you said clan.
No, clam.
Clam. Okay.
with an M.
Okay.
And they can live over 500 years. There's one, her name is Ming, and she was born in 1499 when the Ming dynasty ruled China. Isn't that crazy?
Wait.
Yeah.
And she's just like a little clam?
She's just a little gal. There she is right there, clamming it up.
Okay. Listen, I get that they're alive, but it also seems really, like, that's not an animal.
Yeah, it is. They move. They think.
They move?
Yeah, they open their little things and they have like a little foot that moves them.
They have a foot?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's called.
Do they have eyes?
This is their little foot that comes out. And then the eyes are on the end.
Oh, no. I don't
and
like
then they
that.
inch along.
What the fuck? I don't.
Yeah. You didn't know this? They dig too. Do you want to see it? Okay, so I'm showing her a video of a clam digging into the sand. Yeah. What did you think they were? Just like,
I don't know.
I feel like you're thinking they're like oysters, where oysters are just like filter.
Yeah, I thought they were just like.
See, there he goes. He's sniffing along.
I thought they were just shells.
No, look at him go. He's digging. This will be on our Instagram and also probably on the YouTube.
Oh, well, now I feel bad for people who eat clam chowder.
Why do you feel bad for the
Because I didn't know
people?
they were like animal things with like feet and
You feel
shit.
bad for them, or
I feel bad for them.
The clams. Okay, you said people who eat clam chowder.
Well, I feel bad for the clams because so many people eat clam chowder.
Well, now do you accept her as old?
Oh my God, she's just like a little old lady.
She's just a little old lady. She's trying her hardest.
I don't love the way the foot thing looks coming out of them.
You should see a gooey duck.
I don't know.
You don't want
show
to.
me.
They also live a
Don't
long
show
time.
me, please. I guarantee you that there's a lot of people in this world that have never seen that come out of a clam.
Really?
Yeah. You are strange.
Hey.
Sorry. I mean that in the nicest way possible.
I feel like knowing that clams are alive isn't that weird.
No. I knew they were alive, but I didn't know that they like like that thing came out of them, and then that's how they like moved and like dug into the ground.
Yeah.
And I really think that a lot of people need to Google that if they also have not seen it, because it's really jarring. It was very, very an unexpected situation.
This is like when people, I think it was you, when you found out that I told you that sand dollars are alive and they move and they have little feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just thought that they just were there.
Nope. They're
Do you remember?
living creatures.
Have you ever seen Alice in Wonderland?
Yes.
Do you remember the little clams that like dance and they're in their little diapers?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that was so sad. They dance right into the pot and then he cooks them. I cried so hard.
And yet you're here trying to tell me that my girl Ming is not a real living creature.
Wait, so how did she escape the vat of clam chowder?
I don't know.
For that long, for 500 years?
She had a really good publicist.
Wow, good for her. Okay, but do they have to have sex?
No, usually when you're an egg layer,
I mean, that little
eggs.
tongue or foot could definitely get into another shell and then just kind of like bop around in there.
Well, I don't know. I feel like, let me see. Oh, okay, yeah. So they do. Male clams produce sperm and then just release it into the water, and then the females produce eggs that are retained internally. So the sperm gets drawn into the female bivalve through her siphons, and then that's when they get fertilized.
Okay.
Do you understand that? What
yes,
I just said?
Sure.
And if you, I'm asking genuinely.
Basically, what you said was they release their sperm, and the sperm just kind of like floats into their.
Yeah, and then the girls they breathe, their bivalve sucks it in, and then that fertilizes the eggs that are inside.
Wow, guys, the world is crazy.
Yeah, the world is
that
crazy.
is insane.
Yeah,
I just had no idea. And are they now? Where do they get their shells?
they grow them.
They grow them on their bodies?
Yeah, how do you grow your fingernails? What do you
That's
mean?
wild.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, this is my second new personality. First vampires, second clams. Never in my 33 years of living ever thought about it before until right now.
That's
That's
so crazy to me.
my mind is blown.
This is like what I think about 60% of the time. The other 40% of the time is like, why am I here?
Well, now I'm going to be thinking about why are the clams clamming around down there?
They're clamming around.
And what are they up to?
Well, I guess the ocean's a good thing to talk about.
Oh.
Because my story today, we're going to be talking about the Principality of Sealand.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about Sealand. And my sources were sealandgov.org, a BBC article by Mike McCacrian, a Reddit AMA with Sealand Gov, a 60 Minutes episode that interviewed Prince Michael Bates.
Okay.
So let's get into it.
I think someone recommended this to me like a long time ago.
Perhaps.
Like in person. Like someone was like, oh, have you ever heard of Sealand? And then I just didn't look into it.
That sounds about right. Yeah. Okay. So in the 1960s, the only way that you could play music on the radio in the United Kingdom was through a license that was basically completely monopolized by BBC Radio. So the British Broadcasting System, or whatever the C stands for.
System.
Company? I don't know. It's none of my business. It was a little out of date, and they would only play popular music like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and, music that was actually popular with people who wanted to listen to music for 1 hour every week on Sunday afternoon.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise, you had to listen to the BBC orchestra or just talk radio. So, of course, this did not fly with young people. They wanted to rock out and listen to the music
with
that
their
they liked.
Cock out.
Exactly. And this is how they ended up with the idea of pirate radio. So that's actually what the police and the local media decided to call it. And joke's on them, because everyone was like, that's sick as fuck. Like, they were like, oh, we need to call these people pirates. That has a negative connotation. And then it turns out like it was just the coolest nickname you could have for these illegal broadcasts.
Like pirating stuff.
Like, you're a pirate, because most of them were in the ocean.
Oh.
Yeah. So the pirate radio stations would actually typically set up outside of the 3-mile offshore zone and broadcast to the people of England. So the way that the law worked at the time was there was this old, I think it was from like the 1700s, this old idea that 3 miles offshore of England was considered like England's territory, right? And that was because at the time, that's how far a cannonball could shoot from shore and hit a ship offshore.
Okay.
So like basically, like if you're within a cannonball's range, then you have to follow our laws, was the rule.
Got it.
So these pirates took advantage of this, and it became so popular that advertisers and record producers started partnering with these pirate radio stations to release new music and push products. So not only were these stations extremely popular, they were also extremely lucrative. And this is where we meet our boy, Paddy Roy Bates, or as he goes, just Roy Bates.
Not Paddy?
He doesn't go by Paddy, he goes by Roy.
Huh.
And he is an ex-major from the Army. And he has a bit of like an entrepreneurial streak in him. He's tried to start a few businesses. He's invested in some different ventures, but nothing that really stuck or like gave him the thrill that he was seeking in his life. And that is a way people have described him. He was kind of a little bit of a thrill seeker, or maybe a little bored. So Bates decides to get into pirate radio. He uses old military equipment to turn a Monsell sea fort into a radio station. Now, Amanda, ask the question I know you want to ask. What is a Monsell sea fort?
Yeah, of course I don't know what that is.
Yes. So what this is, these are basically like, imagine almost like like you'll see off of the coast of California a lot, those like oil rigs like outside of Huntington and stuff. So like a smaller version of that. And they were set off of the coast of England during World War II to warn people if there were air raids coming in to England, right?
How did he get his hands on one of these?
So they were completely abandoned in the 1950s. So this is now the 1960s, and they're technically in an area of the water that England doesn't own. Like they were illegally erected, but like it was World War II, so people were just kind of doing what they had to do, right? And they, like I said, had been abandoned by the UK military since the 1950s, and now it's the 1960s.
The fact that he was just like, oh, I know exactly where to go. I know exactly what to do.
Well, there were multiple of them, and other people were also doing this.
Okay.
And other pirate radios were off of boats that would just drive off of the coast and broadcast from there. So the name of the fort that they took over was the Knock John Fort, which was several miles off of the coast. So the DJs would actually stay out there for days and sometimes weeks using code words and certain songs to indicate that they needed supplies dropped off, because that was their only means of communication with the people on shore. Their radio station was called Radio Essex, which pops off and eventually actually becomes the first pirate radio station to broadcast music and talk 24 hours a day. So they had entertainment no matter what time. You're working the night shift, turn it on. Radio Essex will be there waiting for you.
And this is Roy's radio.
Mm-hmm. So Roy Bates, his family, which includes his son Michael, his daughter Penny, and his wife Joan, would also go and spend time out on the platform, and even spent a Christmas there with some of the DJs, where they brought their cat with them also, because they were there for like a couple weeks. And his wife Joan would cook like a big Christmas dinner for everybody and help take care of the place.
Nice.
Obviously, there's literally no drinkable water out there. There's no food. There's no way to contact anybody. So they kind of really had to like be on their shit, supplying these things. And this was all fun and games until Bates was found guilty of violating the Wireless Telegraphy Act of 1949 and was fined $100 a day until he would stop broadcasting. So basically what they said is during low tide, this fort was actually was less than 3 miles from shore during low tide, because the water would recede so much. And so when you would measure it from there, technically he was breaking the law.
Oh.
Yeah. And so being fined, and it's 100 pounds, obviously not dollars, but I'm an American. Get over it. 100 pounds a day until he stopped broadcasting, and he pretty quickly ran out of money and had to shut down his radio station in 1966.
Damn. And then all the people that are working late hours of the day,
yeah,
they're like, where's my music?
They had like DJs that were working on the tower and like presumably loved what they were doing, and they would even bring out like their own personal record collection. Like that's what they would broadcast from. And at this point, like one of his DJs got an advanced copy of the Rolling Stones' new album. Like that's how big they were.
Damn.
Because they knew like, oh, if Radio Essex is playing this, then
a lot of people are listening.
They're going to hear it, and kids are going to go out and buy this record when it comes out, which that's the whole point, right? At least it was the whole point back then. Now we just stream everything. It's fun. I love that I have it at my fingertips, but it does take some of the magic away.
It does, for sure. I miss like buying CDs and stuff.
Yeah, and it was like so exciting when you had to buy the CD to hear the hits that weren't the singles.
Yes.
Like that was so exciting.
It was.
And so don't get me wrong, I love having access to it all at my fingertips, but also there's a little bit of magic to that.
Yeah. Miss going into like fucking,
or getting a CD for Christmas or your birthday.
And you always knew it was a CD because when you wrapped it, it looked like a CD. So you're like, I know this is the fucking.
And you could tap on it.
This is it. This is the Britney Spears CD that I really wanted.
Yep.
Oh, man. Now I'm depressed.
So this is when he decides to set up him and his family at Ruff's Tower that was a little further outside of the boundary. And he was said to have been within beforehand, right? His original plan was to begin broadcasting again, But on the 14th of August, 1967, the Marine and Broadcasting Offenses Act of 1967 came into effect, which made it illegal, regardless of distance from the shore, to broadcast from certain marine structures that pretty specifically targeted the towers that Bates had been using.
These acts are like a little too fucking specific.
Yeah.
And annoying. Like,
Well,
shut up.
So at first, they were kind of just trying to ignore these pirate radio stations and ignore these people. Somebody did end up getting shot and killed because somebody else was trying to take over their marine station to create their own pirate radio. They claimed it was self-defense. And so they were like, the government was like, ugh, okay, I guess we have to do something. Like, it's getting dangerous. But the pirate radio did encourage the BBC to create multiple different facets of their radio show. So it was like BBC 1, 2, 3, 4, and some of them would actually play modern music.
Nice.
Which was what people wanted. But it didn't matter. At this point, the pirate radio stations were everywhere. There were also pirate radio stations on land that would broadcast from like unique places, and like all these really smart people, know how to do technology stuff, would make it hard to trace and stuff. So yeah. So 19 days after this Marine Broadcasting Offenses Act went into effect, instead of vacating the structure and giving up on his dream, on September 2nd of 1967, Bates declared independence from England for Ruff's Tower and deemed his new country the Principality of Sealand.
Can he do that?
That's a great question. And that's what makes this story so fun. So the son, Prince Michael, told the BBC about the tower, quote, "I was only 14 when I first came out during my school summer holidays to help my dad, and I thought I'd only be out there for a 6-week adventure. I certainly didn't think that this would be a story that would carry on for 50-odd years. It was a strange upbringing, as sometimes we stayed out for months on end, waiting for the boat to bring supplies from the mainland. I'd look out at the horizon, and all I could see was from morning to night was the North Sea." Yo ho, lords and beggars. That song, remember all those clips?
Yeah.
That was the North Sea.
Oh.
Yeah. But of course, other people saw that this was happening and became extremely interested in Sealand.
And they wanted to move
its
there?
Opportunities. Well, so they would give out passports. They had passports. They had their own money. Obviously, his wife was the Princess Joan.
Wow.
And he actually declared this and dropped the flag.
Wait, why was she the princess? Wouldn't she be the queen?
So there's no king or queen. There's only prince and princesses.
Okay.
Michael is the prince now because his father has passed away. But originally, Joan and Roy were prince and princess of Sealand. And Roy, in a very romantic gesture, declared all of this and dropped the flag on Joan's birthday.
Aww.
And made her a princess on her birthday. She was kind of wishy-washy on whether or not how much she loved it. She went through phases.
I'd be like, yeah, bitch, I'm the fucking princess.
Oh, no, not being a princess, living on this structure. So if you want to open up your laptop for me right now.
I do.
I have some photos in the email. The first photo that you'll see is the actual structure itself of Sealand. We'll have this on the Instagram and on the YouTube. And if you don't have either of those, if you just Google Sealand infrastructure, you'll be able to see what it is. So that is the entirety of it.
That's it.
So it's basically like a platform, and on top there's kind of almost like a mobile home type situation. And then you'll see 2 big pillars. Those are both hollow and filled with living situations, kitchens, bathrooms, and all that stuff.
Yes. I remember it was Barry.
Oh, that makes sense.
He brought this up to me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, I know we're skipping ahead, but
it's okay.
Let's give it a little scroll. You can actually see a picture of Joan
Aww.
and Roy. There they are together heading out to Sealand. And then if you scroll up, you'll be able to see the family and them hanging out.
What year is this? The 50s, 60s?
This is in the 70s now.
70s, okay. Aww.
So people saw this happening, and it kind of became like a little bit of a sensation, right? And the government allegedly was aware of the situation, but was kind of like, what's really the point? Like, this is more trouble than it's worth, right?
I mean, it's not like they could go anywhere. It's like a little house on pillars in the middle of the ocean.
And they're not really doing anything like to agitate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but obviously other people wanted this tower, and the Bateses had been in conversations with people from Germany and Denmark and different places in the area. There was like, at one point they wanted to make it into kind of like a resort area where they would add other structures and upgrade the infrastructure to make it a little more like pleasant to be there, so people could go travel there, and it'd be kind of like a quirky little idea.
Say, that is not somewhere I would want to go.
And the inside is actually pretty interesting. Everything's round though, because you're like in those big round structures.
Yeah.
And this is when something kind of intense happened.
Oh no.
So Ronan O'Reilly, he actually ran another pirate radio station, which was quite popular. It was like one of the most popular ones. It was called Radio Caroline, or Carolyn. I'm not sure how you'd say that in a British accent. So him and a group of people that he worked with and investors into his radio station actually tried to board the station, the Bates' platform station. And Bates himself and his son and the people that were on there with him, they used petrol bombs and guns to keep the O'Reillys off of their land. It's not land, but you know what I mean? Off of their island,
their space.
So because of this, obviously word gets back to the Royal Navy that there's violent conflict happening just a few miles off of the coast of England. And when the Royal Navy shows up, they actually are like zooming around really close to the structure itself. And Michael, who is now Prince Michael, who is Bates' son, thinks that this might be another coup attempt, basically, and fires a warning shot at the Royal Navy vessel.
Uh-oh.
And Bates is like, he has every right to do this. You are in our Sealand territorial waters. These are not British waters. You have no authority here. So both Michael and Roy were arrested because of this incident. And they did get charged in British court with weapons charges for having illegal unregistered weapons, because the weapons were not registered to the British government because it was Sealand territory.
Wait, so this was legally...
This is where... Okay. That's where we're going. That's where we're going right now. So they bring them into court, right? They're like in jail. They bring them into court, and the judges decide that they have no jurisdiction over this international water. And Ruff's Tower is technically beyond the territorial waters of Britain. So they don't, like the British Royal Navy and the British courts do not have jurisdiction there. This is something totally separate from them. And he throws the case out, and everybody's like super amazed that this worked, and they're let go. They're let free.
And they shall reign supreme once again.
Yes.
As the prince and princess.
So Bates, of course, loved this, and he thought it was basically the government validating their nationhood. So he decided to issue a constitution, a flag, and a national anthem.
What's the national anthem?
I have no idea. It's probably some dumb thing he wrote.
I thought you were going to sing it to me.
No, absolutely not. His son Michael had a different view on all of this, once again, telling BBC, quote, "The platform was built illegally outside of British territorial waters during a time of war, but everyone was too busy to care. The British should have destroyed it when they had the chance, but they never got around to it. Now, decades later, Sealand is still here." So
and it will be there forever.
Forevermore. So Bates felt like he hit the 4 what is called Montevideo Convention points for what is considered a nation. So this is something that most of the nations in the world signed on to as how you can determine whether or not a plot of land is an actual nation or not.
Okay.
And that is, it must have a population. It must have claimed territory. It must have a functioning government. And it must have relations with other states, so other nations.
Okay.
And now that they had a constitution, they have their land, well, their territory, and they have a population, they live there. They're saying this relations with other states, us going to that court and being ruled out of their jurisdiction, to me, validates that we are a legitimate nation.
That's fair.
Yeah. But that is the one point that haters of Sealand are always questioning. And because Roy Bates loved Sealand and was constantly trying to get more for that fourth point, which is relations with other states, he was having conversations talking about, like I said, selling Sealand and going into business with other countries about development, like we talked about earlier. Like this was like an ongoing thing. He not only thought it could make him a very rich man, but also that it would legitimize his country, because if he was having quote unquote relations with other states, that would legitimize him as a country, especially considering he wouldn't have to go by British law to do it, right? So that means it's not even going through the British government to him. It would be a direct contact through to these both legitimate countries.
Yes.
Roy Bates did end up kind of getting what he wanted, but not in the way he was expecting. So in 1978, a man from West Germany, who was a businessman that Roy Bates had actually been in contact with, his name was Alexander Achenbach. He had a couple other dudes who were businessmen and lawyers that decided to wait until Roy Bates and his family were off of Sealand, and the only person there was the son, Michael.
Oh no, what did they do?
So they come down in a helicopter and drop down from this helicopter and start saying, like, we had a deal with your dad, like, you need to leave, like, here's our paperwork. And Michael's going like, that's not true, go get my dad and bring him here. And at this point, Michael's like in his 20s, he's an adult, he's not a child anymore. And Achenbach goes, fine, like, this is so annoying, can I at least have a glass of whiskey before I go?
There's a weird angle here.
Yeah. And he's like, okay. So he goes and he pours him a glass of whiskey and is like, yeah, let's have a drink together to like show goodwill. And they end up hog-tying Michael and holding him as a hostage for almost 5 days. He was a political hostage in his own country of Sealand.
His own country.
Where he is
the prince.
The future prince.
And Sealand is very small. If you guys haven't seen the pictures,
it's very small. It's the size of about 2 tennis courts.
Oh, it's bigger than it looks. I'm gonna be honest.
So Michael claims that they were talking about throwing him overboard while he was tied up.
Wait, where are the parents?
The parents are gone.
Back?
They went to go do something, and it takes days and days to do anything. And there's no cell phones. There's no way to communicate, so they have no idea.
Jeez.
So he's held there for 4 days, and he finally tells them, like, hey, I'll sign whatever you want, because they like wanted him to sign a document basically like giving up Sealand, or like saying that he was like willingly leaving this land and now they are the ones occupying it, because 3/4 of the law is possession or whatever, right? They're like trying to do one of those things. And so he signs this thing against his better interest. There ends up being some fishermen who are going by. They give Michael to these Dutch fishermen, and Michael's talking to them, telling them what happened, and they all feel bad for him. He doesn't have his passport. He doesn't have any of his documents. And so they're like, okay, well, you can stay with us when we get home, and then we'll take you to the airport and like try to help you. So he stays with one of the fishermen. The fisherman takes him to the airport the next morning. They help him like get through customs and stuff, like tell everybody what happened and why he doesn't have his passport. He flies back to England. He goes to his grandma's house and tells her everything that happens. And then his dad shows up to the grandma's house the next day. So of course he once again explains everything that happened to his dad, or everything that happened to him to his dad. And his dad is like, hell no. And they start to gather supplies.
Well, he's the prince, so
yeah,
he's not like, going to stand for that.
I'm not going to let this happen to Sealand. And so they end up getting their own helicopter and reoccupying Sealand by dropping down from ropes on there. They bring guns and stuff.
Also, question.
And they take these men hostage. Well, they kick off most of them, but one of the guys had been working with them so closely, he had a Sealand passport. So they tried him for treason against Sealand, and
he was a traitor
and wouldn't let him go because he was a traitor.
Oh shit!
Yeah. So they let the other guys go, but they keep this guy.
So wait, question really quick.
Mm-hmm.
So they're rich because this whole time they're still doing the radio station.
No, they're not even doing the radio station anymore.
Oh, they're not?
No. I don't know how they have money. I don't know if they have jobs. I don't know what they're up to.
I'm like, they just can have a helicopter and get all this stuff.
They had to like go find a friend who like had that. Like Michael like knew a guy who worked at like the fisherman's port. So he had all these ropes and stuff. So like they were like really crowdsourcing here.
Okay.
So one of the German guys had a passport, a Sealand passport. So he was a dual citizenship holder. And so
how are you going to turn against your own country?
So he gets held and convicted for treason, and the rest were released. And so this ends with Germany sending a diplomat to Britain to ask for intervention. They're like, hey, England, help us out. We got like a political prisoner happening. And they go, oh, nope, that's not our jurisdiction. That's not our land. That's Sealand. So then Germany has to send a diplomat to Sealand to directly negotiate the release of this political prisoner, which he was released. But this act of diplomatic negotiation was claimed by Roy Bates to be de facto recognition that Sealand is a legitimate country.
There you go.
Because that was the ultimate relation with another state. Germany, of course, denies this and claims that it was not legitimizing it. They were just trying to free a prisoner. But the fact that Britain said that's not our jurisdiction and made Germany send over their diplomat, I feel like that's true.
No, yeah.
So as of today, there's a flag for Sealand. There's a football team, an anthem.
A football team?
They have their own currency. And like I said, the currency has the portrait of Princess Joan on it.
Gorgeous. That would be amazing.
Around 500 passports have been issued for Sealand.
I'm sorry, 500 people cannot fit on Sealand.
Well, they don't all have to be there all the time. You can have a passport for Ireland and live in America.
That's true.
Yeah. So the motto of Sealand is a mare libertas, which means from the sea is freedom.
Wow. This is the national anthem.
Now, Prince Michael and his 3 children and his second wife, Mei Shi, who's actually a former major in the Chinese People's Liberation Army, they are still continuing on the Sealand dynasty. And Sealand is still up and running today. You can actually pay to become a lord or a lady of Sealand.
How much?
It depends whether or not you want to be a lord or a lady or like whatever, a dutch or a duchess. They're different costs. It's actually how they make most of their money. They tried different schemes throughout like the 80s and 90s. Did not work out great for them.
Well, they got to make money somehow.
At one point, like Pirates Bay, you know, that like illegal downloading site, tried to buy it to have like their headquarters there.
Well, that's what I was saying. Pirating like movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was all sorts of other stuff. Didn't really work out. But it is still functioning today. They still I watched an episode of 60 Minutes, and the 60 Minutes guy had his little passport stamped with the stamp from Sealand when he arrived, and they gave him a whole tour of the place.
So jealous.
If you're interested in this, please watch the 60 Minutes thing. It's not that long, and it gives a whole tour of the whole entire place. And I'm gonna end this with a Reddit AMA with Prince Michael of Sealand, and a few of the most popular questions. How many people live in Sealand? The reply was, this varies a lot. We have 308 current citizens, many of which visit various times. How many people were born in Sealand? No one has been born in Sealand just yet.
Yet is the key word here.
Do Sealand citizens pay taxes? And if yes, to which country? Sealanders don't pay taxes in Sealand, but all citizens have dual nationality with other countries, so they pay taxes in those countries when working in them. How do you get food, and is there a national dish? Like many other countries, much of our food is imported, apart from the seafood caught in our own waters. Our national dish is lobster spaghetti. This tradition comes from eating practical food with a long shelf life mixed with our locally fished lobsters.
Gross.
Pretty good. Oh, I love lobster spaghetti.
You've had lobster spaghetti before?
I've had lobster macaroni and cheese. I've had lobster pasta. Yeah, absolutely. I love seafood pasta. I like seafood. You don't.
That's true.
What if someone commits murder on Sealand? A dark but important question. The murderer would be processed by our judicial system, and if found guilty, they would be put into the jail at the bottom of the North Tower, which is almost at seabed level.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah, that's in the 60 Minutes episode. You can see the jail cell down there. Yeah. They also have a place of worship there where they have basically every type of Bible, like everything from the Christian Bible to the Quran to like Hindu scripts. They have everything that you could imagine there, so that you can, no matter who you worship, if you are on Sealand, you are able to worship whatever God you believe in.
Amazing.
Yeah. So now if you do visit Sealand, and this is in the pictures that I sent you, Amanda, you saw a guy like kind of on a what looks like a childlike swing.
Yes.
So that is how you get onto Sealand. You don't use that rickety old ladder anymore. Now you sit on that and they hoist you up on a winch.
Fun.
Very fun. Yeah. And that is the story of Sealand and the Bates family. Bates himself, Roy, did die on October 9th, 2012. He died at the age of, I think, 90.
Damn, pretty old.
Yeah. Oh, 91 after being diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And then his wife died in 2016. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really want to know what the national anthem is.
I wonder if we could look it up. One of the quotes that Michael quoted his father on after his father's death was, quote, "I might die young or I might die old, but I will never die of boredom."
Wow.
Let's see.
When I say sea, you say land. Sea,
land,
sea,
land. All right, here is the Principality of Sealand's national anthem. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, it goes.
I feel like I'm going into medieval times.
It's 100% what it sounds like. Wow.
I literally love that, actually.
The comments on this video, it's from the official Sealand account. I just subscribed. The comments are so good. Sealand strong. One day, Sealand is going to rule the entire world with the king sitting and laughing at all the people who laughed at him. Readers may be interested to know that this is the only national anthem for which it is not considered compulsory to stand up. The reason being, if a lot of people stood up on Sealand at the same time, the platform might fall over. Amazing.
I would absolutely need to get up and just rock out with my cock out.
Rock all the way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good song.
That's a good song. Yeah.
I'm really glad I heard that.
I'm going to add it to my workout playlist.
Wow. I love it.
Yeah, that is the very mysterious and strange story of the smallest claimed nation in the world. They call it a micronation, which there are several of around the world, by the way.
Are there?
There are, yeah. This one is the smallest.
Can we create our own?
Yeah, if you want to be one of those annoying sovereign citizens.
I just want to be the princess.
Well, I'll buy you a Duchess hood for your birthday or something.
Okay.
For Sealand.
Can you?
And we'll go visit. It sounds like your nightmare.
Yeah.
To be on the water. Even getting there would probably kill you.
I would like to go in the swing.
The swing looks fun.
Yeah, that looks pretty fun.
Yeah.
And if I could be the Duchess?
Why not?
Pretty cool.
Yeah, so the smallest micronation in the world, whether or not you consider it sovereign or not, is a real political question, but it's none of my business. I say Sealand strong.
Sealand strong, baby.
Sealand now, Sealand then, Sealand forever. In the sea, there is freedom.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Alrighty then. Hello. We're staying in England.
Oh, nice.
For my story. And we're going to go not to Sealand, but to a cemetery.
Ooh, okay.
And we're going to talk about the Highgate Cemetery.
Oh, nice. Very famous one.
Very famous. So my sources were thevintagenews.com by Martin Chalakowski.
Mm-hmm.
Mysterious Universe. I feel like it's been a while.
By Brent Swanson,
yeah,
maybe?
It's been a while. Needed to bring him back around.
She missed him.
I really did. Medium.com by Saphir Khan. TheLittleHouseOfHorrors.com. A Vice article by Francisco Garcia. And Wikipedia.
Okay.
So the Highgate Cemetery is located in North London, England. And it was designed by an architect named Stephen Geary, and it opened up on May 26th, 1839.
Almost my birthday.
Almost
and
your
mine
birthday.
Was I had some August action in mine.
You
remember?
did, yes. Yeah. 1839 though, so a long time before you.
So long before me that Amanda
born.
barely believes that time existed.
1800s.
You can do 1800s?
It's still okay.
Okay.
Like once we're getting in like 1500 territory, then it's like, that's gross.
Yeah, you're like, don't even say that.
Yeah,
to me
I'm like, actually
lose my number.
Throw me in the ocean. I don't want to hear about it. So this was one of 7 large cemeteries that were created outside of central London because of this like overcrowding situation that was happening.
Didn't they know that they could just throw them into the catacombs?
Well, they could. That's true. So there was a lot of overcrowding in the inner city cemeteries. There was just too many corpses and not enough church cemeteries to bury them in. So allegedly, they were putting these graves in between like the shops and outside taverns, just like willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we got to bury them somewhere.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind being buried outside of a tavern. I feel like that would be appropriate.
Why not?
Yeah. So they were literally burying people wherever they could. So they had to build these other cemeteries, and they were known as the Magnificent Seven.
Yes.
The Highgate Cemetery is not only large, but it became a very fashionable place to get buried. It is Victorian. It is Gothic. It is like really, really pretty. I don't know if you've seen pictures of it. It's like gorgeous. It has these tombs and vaults, and it even has catacombs inside of it.
It's kind of giving, or like the idea is what I think of is the Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
Yes, but even like more like the tombs and vaults and stuff. There's like a lower level with all like the tombs, and then there's an upper level with like all this grass on top and even more. Like it's just so large.
I just mean like
picturesque
in the idea of it being like a very fashionable, exclusive place that like you want to be buried at.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. The cemetery is full of greenery. It's full of wildflowers, and it was just like you just said, fashionable, popular place to be, or to be buried, not to be.
Yeah.
By 1854, the Highgate Cemetery was already packed full. So they had to buy another 20 acres to expand.
Turns out people be dying.
People be dying, especially in the 1800s, from basically just breathing.
Paper cut, dead.
Dead. Yeah, pretty
Hemorrhoids, dead. Childbirth, believe it or not, dead.
Oh, hemorrhoids. I would have been dead years ago.
Done. You're done for.
That would have been real bad. But yeah, it's the hot place to be. They're like, step right up. Get in your grave.
Get in your coffin and we'll throw you in the ground.
Yeah. You'll be in this beautiful, picturesque place. And there are 170,000 people buried here.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. So anyways, the 1900s roll around as they do. And this brings on World War I, and then World War II. And by the end of the Second World War, the cemetery kind of just falls into disarray. And by the end of the 1950s, the Highgate Cemetery just kind of stops getting taken care of altogether. The tombs and the gravestones become overgrown with grass and weeds, and it's just a mess.
Yeah.
And of course, in a place like this, it's beautiful, it's gothic, it's filled with dead bodies. Obviously, spooky things will inevitably happen here.
What else do you expect to happen
Like,
there?
it's literally just asking for some spooky shit to
Be
happen.
so for real.
Yeah. Before we get into any like paranormal things that go down here, something that I was not aware of that could happen that really upset me.
Okay. The bar's pretty low on that.
It is pretty low.
I'm not gonna lie.
That.
So like really could be anything you're about to say right now.
No, but this really, really upset me because I just never really considered it before or thought about it.
Okay.
But this happened at the Highgate Cemetery on more than one occasion. So during the Victorian era, so closer to like when the cemetery was first opened,
Okay.
there was a lot of, wealthy people that wanted to be buried in tombs that were above ground.
Yes.
So there were a lot of laws or like regulations that instructed that every above ground burial site or tomb was to be fully sealed and enclosed in lead to keep any horrifying smell or like poisonous gases from leaking out.
Okay, that makes sense.
But the problem was that as the bodies were decomposing in these sealed tombs, the gases would like leak out of the body as they do,
Okay.
I suppose. So as the gases would fill the coffin, they would eventually explode because the gas was being trapped in the tomb and it became like a pressure cooker.
Yes. Okay. It's like the exploding pope.
What?
One of the popes exploded once. It was a whole thing. We don't have to get into it.
Well, rest in peace to the Pope that died on Easter Monday.
Yeah,
by
that's
the
why
way.
it's on my. That's why it's on my head.
You're gonna have to bring that up on another
Okay.
occasion. I think.
Like we're gonna have to, I think, circle
we're
back
gonna
to
have
that.
to dive into that one.
Okay.
So one article described visitors or gravediggers that were working at the cemetery as hearing "quote unquote" explosive burps inside of these
Ew.
tombs.
Oh my gosh. I would.
This is why I said this
once
is really
again,
upsetting.
I would prefer a ghost. 100%.
Like, can you imagine? You're like,
No, I can't imagine, and
You're-
that's the problem.
you're like casually walking by and you hear something that sounds like a burp coming from inside an enclosed tomb. You're like, what the fuck?
and then you just smell the.
gases.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they would hear these either explosive burps or they would see the tombs like slightly being opened the next day when they came
Ew.
back because the explosions would pop open the lid or the doors.
Sick. Absolutely sickening. Okay, can I say something controversial?
Absolutely.
I think you're fucking weird if you want to be buried in like something really extravagant.
No, I think that's weird.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
You're gonna be dead, dude. And like if you believe in heaven and shit, right?
It's just, it was wealthy people being like,
No, I know. Like,
oh
oh my God, I'm still important after death.
yeah.
What the heck? This is why God said it's easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than a wealthy person to join the kingdom of heaven. Because y'all have the fucking wrong priorities, you
Yeah.
richy riches.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just going to get fucking cremated and tossed in an urn
Are
somewhere.
you a cremated girly?
I mean, I'm
You're an organ donor.
an organ donor, so I
Yes.
assume I would probably just get cremated
Okay.
because if they're going to take all my shit anyway.
Yeah, I want them to like put me in a biodegradable bag and like plant me under a tree.
Yeah.
Then I just like go back to the earth.
There you go.
Yeah.
I thought you wanted to be thrown in the ocean.
That would be ideal, but I don't think they'll let someone just chum me up for some sharks. I feel that feels illegal because that's what I would want. I would want to be chum. Like I don't.
I know you would.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to like be in a casket in the ocean. I'd want to be chum.
Yeah. Sometimes when you would say like that you wanted to be thrown into the ocean, I was thinking like, okay, I'm just going to take your full ass body and just like chuck
I'm
you in
also
there.
an organ donor.
I know.
I don't know how many of these they'd want. To be honest, I've ridden her hard and putting her away wet a lot. Okay, it's not a good look in there. I'm sure.
That was something I did not expect to come out of your mouth.
You know, like the phrase.
Never heard of
ridden
it.
hard and put away wet.
No, this is the first time I've ever heard
Oh,
that
okay.
before.
That might be just a cowboy thing.
I like it.
Yeah, it's like when somebody looks like haggard.
Mm.
Like, ooh, she looks like she was ridden hard and then put away wet. Like she didn't get properly groomed or
I
taken
get
care
it.
of.
Yeah.
That's how my organs look.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess.
Probably.
There's no way it's looking good in there.
But they'll want like your eyeballs and your skin.
Yeah, and they can have those. Take my
Yeah.
skin. I have great skin. I take
That's
care
what
of
I'm
that.
saying. Like, if they take my skin and stuff, like, there's no way I'm going to be put in a
Yeah,
casket.
Figure I'll just be like a sack of shit, right? Like they'll just put me in like some sort of bag.
We're just going to be like dust.
Yeah, I'll just be like in some sort of like baggy, biohazard baggy situation.
Yeah.
So you could just put that in the ocean, like, and
Well, that's why people go out and they sprinkle the ashes on like soil.
yeah, but I don't want to be burned.
Oh.
I want to recontribute.
Okay.
So you either feed me to fish or you plant me under a tree, which you're also allowed to do.
Yeah, but what? So what? You're not getting cremated?
No, I just want to be in that weird bag they're gonna put me in.
You're talking about your full like bones and body. Like, what are we talking? I'm very confused.
You thought you were gonna feed my ashes to the fishes?
You want me to take your bones and your like?
Well, not you. You're squeamish.
I'll probably be dead anyway.
Yeah.
Let's be real. By that time, if we're old, if that's what we're talking.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably your grandkids or whatever. Whoever's in charge of my estate.
They're not gonna want to grab a
You
bunch
don't
of
know.
your bones and shit in a bag.
I'm just assuming it'll just be like a big bag of goo.
That is
Just dump
even.
it, put it in a bucket, and feed it to some fish and sharks.
That's just even more sick than I originally had pictured.
Okay, well, if they're not up to it, plant me under a tree. But yeah,
but it still has to be a big bag of your goo and bones.
There's people who can compost you. It's fine. You can compost me. Just don't burn me.
Oh my
You can compost me.
Okay, well. Let's get back to these explosive
You can
burps.
picture the kind of like big bag.
No, I
I'm
can
thinking
now.
of. Okay.
Now I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
The whole time when you were like
like a big slop bag.
I
You know, like when
am sick.
like when it's Shark Week and they have the big bucket of chum, like that, but it's me. That's what I want. She's crying.
Oh
Why are
my
you
god.
crying?
Because that is fucking sick. What is wrong with you?
Oh my god, how much time do you have? So much is wrong with me.
Whoa, I am sorry everybody that was so sickening to hear. Wow.
I'm not.
Well, back to the graves. So at first, it was kind of uncertain like why these burping things were happening and the doors were being popped open. They thought maybe grave robbers were coming in and
Okay.
stealing shit
Yeah.
and putting it in bags of goo and, and feeding
it
them
to
to the sharks. Yeah.
When really it's like when you shake up a bottle of pop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. When really it ended up getting confirmed that these caskets were simply exploding because of a buildup of pressure from the gases.
Yes.
So they were able to fix this issue by drilling a hole into the coffin, placing a pipe inside, and lighting a match to burn the gases off.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. So
Wow, that's a really inventive fix to that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So I just thought that was a interesting little gross
Tidbit. Yeah.
that I had never even considered.
All
before.
about people's tids and bits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So back to the spookier nature of this place. Throughout the years, there have been tons of rumors about satanic cults holding meetings in the cemetery at night. People have reported seeing a lonely woman staring up at the sky, ignoring everyone around her. Some people have claimed to hear the wailing cries of what might be a banshee
Ooh,
in the night.
we got a
That's kind of fun.
Suspected banshee on our
Yeah.
hands. I like that.
Translucent figures have been seen sitting on top of tombstones, and whispers have been heard coming from inside the vaults. There's even a ghostly bike rider that rides through the cemetery.
I'm guessing, like a two-wheeler, not like a motorcycle.
Yeah, like a bicycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
That
was
would
like,
be
damn.
cooler.
vroom, vroom. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got the headless horseman. What's it called? Skull fire.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name?
Rider. Hell
Rider?
Hell Rider? Is that his name? Hellraiser.
No.
Nope.
Different guy. That's a different guy.
I know what you're talking about, though.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider?
Skull Rider.
Skull Crusher.
Nicolas Cage.
Daredevil?
Someone is screaming at us right now.
You guys, don't yell at me in the comments. But the most popular creature that is said to be lurking in the cemetery,
Lay it on me.
is a tall, dark apparition, sometimes seen wearing a top hat, but always has glowing red eyes. And he is known only as the Highgate Vampire. Yes, it's a vampire.
Oh, he could get it. I was literally about to say, I'm liking what I'm hearing. Tall.
Mm-hmm. Tall,
dressed
dark, and handsome.
Tall, dark, and handsome. Dressed in black.
Mm-hmm.
Confident with a hat.
That's right. The top hat.
As we know, that takes a lot of confidence.
It does take a lot of confidence. And as you guys know, vampires are my new personality.
That's literally all she's going to talk about for like the next 6 months.
And that's right. So there is a story that says on Halloween night in 1968, a group of teenagers broke into the cemetery and they had come across an uncovered grave.
Ooh.
The body inside had been disturbed with an iron stake driven through the lid of the coffin directly into the corpse's chest.
That is classic vampire shit.
That's right. And they say ever since that night, that's when reports of this creature would start to be made.
Well, whoever did it wrong if he's still bopping around.
Well, that obviously was the wrong guy that they got.
Oh, that's okay. I like that theory.
Duh.
Well, I was thinking,
why would he be bit bopping around then?
Well, I just thought maybe iron wasn't good enough. They had to do it with a wooden stake. They didn't do it right.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Possibly.
I don't know. There's a lot of different lore.
Buffy's not here.
If she was here, she'd be greatly disappointed in us and our desire to turn. You know who would be on our side?
Spike.
Bella.
Oh,
him too.
Spike could turn me any day.
Oh, talk about one of my first childhood crushes ever.
Ooh, that man. Two young girls walking near Swain's Lane in the cemetery reported seeing a ghostly vampire-looking creature rising from a grave near the north gate.
God, why is it never me?
You got to go to London.
I guess so.
We got to go to Sealand and we got to go to Highgate
Yeah,
Cemetery.
we'll go to Sealand first. And then if we survive that,
yes.
well, and then if we don't survive, maybe they'll just bury us in the cemetery.
Oh, true.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and then we could come back and join
As a
the
vampire.
Yeah.
That is kind of our new goal.
This is a good plan.
Yeah, okay. Priorities, people.
Another woman claimed to have been grabbed by this tall, dark entity with glowing red eyes. She said she felt something cold clinging onto her arm.
Ooh.
And the next morning woke up with a deep mark in her skin and she was drained of her energy.
Oh, so maybe we've got an energy vampire on our hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another man reported to have been hypnotized by the figure who left him disoriented and he was unable to find his way out of the cemetery.
It's those beautiful red eyes.
That's right. Sexy. And to add on to these reported sightings or like interactions with this figure, it was also reported that people were finding dead animal carcasses, mainly foxes,
Ooh.
drained of their blood, scattered all throughout the cemetery.
Amanda, know what I just realized you need to watch? And now if you
What?
don't, like, you're such a faker.
What?
You need to watch. Can you guess? I've been suggesting it to you for so long.
Interview with a Vampire.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
Oh.
Yeah. No, that's an amazing one.
Well, I've seen the movie.
No. It's a show that I've told you to watch a bunch. It's a TV show on Netflix.
The 100?
No, it's about vampires. You quit because there was like 3 dead cats.
Midnight Mass?
Uh-huh.
There was 100 dead cats, first
Okay.
of all.
But if you want to talk about
That's about vampires?
sexy vampires, Midnight Mass is the sexy vampire show.
Oh, I didn't even know that was about vampires because I quit too early on.
Girl, oh my gosh. It is so good.
Okay.
You're going to lose your mind.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Well, now that I have like this thing for vampires, like maybe I'll get over the other stuff, like the dead animals, and
That's the only scene. And I told you, once you get past that scene, and you already watched that scene, so you already know.
You're right.
So just keep watching. There's no more dead animals.
Okay. You're right.
Everybody go watch Midnight Mass and Interview with Vampire. Oh, Interview with Vampire is so sexy.
And Sinners. Okay.
And Sinners. God, I'm down for this vampire revival. I'm totally down for it.
Hell yeah. In February of 1970, an article ran in the Hampstead and Highgate Express that had the headline, "Why do the foxes die?" What does the fox die?
Oh.
I'm just kidding. And the article details some of the sightings of a vampire and says that the foxes were not only drained of their blood, but they were found with deep bite marks in their necks.
Game over.
And this is where the vampire hunters come in.
Oh, love a vampire hunter also.
Yeah.
It's a real win-win scenario there.
I know. So this man named David Farrant, he was an occultist, he was a spiritual medium, and apparently a wizard.
I feel like we might have talked about him before on the podcast.
Have
that
we?
name sounds familiar.
Maybe.
I trust him.
Yeah, me too. So he goes to investigate the cemetery, and he claims that he saw, with his own 2 eyes, the 7-foot-tall dark figure floating above the ground. He said the figure seemed to be draining him of his energy, and he felt like he was in this like vivid dream where he wanted to wake up, but he couldn't.
Okay.
Now, he says all this, but then when he tells the media like about what he's seen, he says that he did not think that this was a vampire, but he thought it was more like a ghost or a demon.
Okay.
So he writes an article and in the paper, and he asks if anyone else had seen this figure and if they like could come forward kind of with their reports or accounts of it. And sure enough, reports start flooding in about a non-human figure in the cemetery.
Oh, okay. So other people had these.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
So like before he even came into the picture, like the 2 girls that saw the vampire rising from the grave.
No. I know. I mean, just like people who hadn't reported it yet.
Oh, yeah. Tons.
Are being like, oh my gosh. Because obviously it hadn't been like a media thing yet.
Yes.
Okay.
So tons of people were writing in or whatever. One that I just thought was really good that I wanted to read was from a J. McKenner. He wrote, and I quote, "A frightening experience occurred on the heath. I was passing beside the viaduct pond when a figure on the far side beckoned me. As I approached, the figure started wading into the water, staring at me with a horrific look. It continued into the pond, motioning me to follow.
Ooh.
I knew that what I was looking at was not human, as there were no ripples in the water around it. With a terrible cry, the head disappeared beneath the still water, leaving me trembling."
That sounds scary. That guy's a good writer.
I know. I liked that one.
Yeah. I was like, dang. Sometimes, they sound pretty stupid. That one was pretty good.
I know. I was like,
yeah.
ooh.
Get a shiver down my spine.
So, so many more things came in to the newspaper and to David Farrant about this. But then this other dude named Sean Manchester, he's a bishop in a Catholic church and a self-proclaimed exorcist and also maybe a wizard. I don't know.
Perhaps.
And also he's the president of the British Occult Society, which he founded.
I'm going to start telling people I'm a wizard.
Why not?
Why not?
Like literally, why not?
I could be. You don't fucking know.
You could be a self-proclaimed anything.
That's so true.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm a self-proclaimed size 2, by the way.
Exactly. See? There you go. So he comes to the cemetery and he's like, no, this is not a ghost. That other guy, he's wrong. He's stupid. This is a vampire and I'm a vampire hunter.
Okay.
And then he's like, this is not a normal vampire, though. This is the king vampire. And he's been summoned by satanic rituals that were being practiced in the cemetery. Like, this is a big fucking deal.
Honestly, I wish this stuff was real because I would love so bad to give up every aspect of my normal life to become a full-time vampire hunter.
No, same.
Like, for real.
Why not?
Literally everything that I hold near and dear. I'm willing to release to become a vampire hunter.
Put it out into the universe.
I am. I'm speaking my truth.
Yeah.
I'm self-proclaimed.
I'm a self-proclaimed vampire hunter.
Uh-huh.
So now this Sean Manchester, the vampire hunter, his reports start coming out into the media, and this sparks a very intense rivalry between him and David Farrant.
Ooh, love this for them.
Yeah. So both men would claim that they were the ones that could get rid of this supernatural being, like from the cemetery for good.
Okay.
Farrant, he was claiming still that this was like a ghost or a demon, but Manchester's like, no, this is a vampire.
But even ghost and demon are so different. Like, come on, man, get with it.
That's so true. Like,
yeah.
You got to pick one.
What's true here?
One or the other, you know? But either way, these men were like, I'm the guy that can expel this entity from the cemetery.
Okay.
The feud got pretty intense in the media and the press. Both of these men would go on television. They would tell their version of the story and what they saw. And then they would also like put the other one down, saying that like, that guy's stupid and I'm more powerful.
Yes. Okay. Love this.
So one day on national television, Sean Manchester, the bishop/exorcist, he says that on Friday the 13th, which was like in a couple days, it was March 13th, 1970, he was going to exorcise the vampire.
Ooh, okay.
In the cemetery.
Put it on TV, baby.
That's right. So when Friday the 13th rolled around, Manchester didn't realize that so many people were interested in this and were going to be watching this. He didn't even show up to the cemetery like he said he was going to. But hundreds of people that saw him on TV, they did show up.
So he was just going to say like, oh, I did it.
We don't know.
Oh, what a tool.
Yeah. All these people showed up to the cemetery to watch him exorcise the vampire.
That literally sounds like something you and I would do if we had nothing else to do that night.
Absolutely.
Like 100%. Like that's,
I want to do it right now, actually.
Yeah.
So when Manchester didn't show up, these people were like, well, we're going to go find the vampire ourselves and take matters into our own hands. And this crazy mob of people starts running around the cemetery with sticks, wooden stakes, and knives trying to find the vampire.
I'm sure that'll turn out well. Like none of you are going to accidentally mistake yourselves or other people.
Luckily, nobody died.
Nobody made a mistake.
Mistakes, yeah. But gravestones were knocked over. Some graves were dug up. Corpses were dragged out of their graves.
We got to get it together here, people.
And
let's get so for real.
Staked and beheaded.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was literally happening until the cops came and broke the whole thing up. A man named Anthony Robinson that was walking past the cemetery that night, he told the London Evening News, I walked past the place and heard a high-pitched noise. Then I saw something gray moving slowly across the road. It terrified me. I've never believed in anything like this, but now I'm sure there's something evil lurking in Highgate.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
After the mob event, the insaneness that happened there, Manchester, he doesn't really acknowledge the fact that he like was a no-show for that night. But instead, him and Farrant just get back on TV, back in the media, going against each other, trying to be the one to defeat this entity.
Oh boy, this guy stinks.
In August of 1970, a woman's body was found near the catacombs. Her body was charred and headless.
Ooh, okay.
The same month, David Farrant is found by police in the churchyard next to the cemetery carrying a crucifix and a wooden stake.
Okay.
He also conducted a seance and was arrested for trespassing. Also that same month, Sean Manchester was in the cemetery forcing open doors of family vaults where he found a black coffin that he opened up, tried to drive a stake through the corpse, but the people that he was with stopped him, and then he just threw garlic and incense in the coffin and left. So basically these people are just like...
just terrorizing dead people.
Terrorizing graves and the cemetery and kind of causing a lot of issues where
Yeah.
other people are also possibly even, I mean, a woman's body was found near the catacombs, charred and
Did they
headless.
ever find out who she was, or
They never said who she was, but they were
Okay.
kind of attributing it to what David and Sean were doing.
doing.
Like, what do you guys do? You guys need to chill.
Yeah, it's not exactly great when you encourage the real crazies.
Yeah. So even when the craze of the Highgate Vampire kind of started to die down, like in the news and in the media, the two of these guys were still feuding for years. Both of them were constantly being arrested for going into the cemetery and just doing insane
God,
shit.
Give it a fucking break, dude.
They could not stop. That's how much they hated each other.
I
You
get
get
it.
it.
I do get it. But come on, you got to be so for real right now.
Years later, in 1974, Manchester and his team claimed to have found the same black casket that they saw in the Highgate Cemetery in 1970, the one that he was trying to put the wooden stake into the corpse.
Yes.
But this time, they found it in a cellar of an abandoned Gothic mansion that borders Highgate.
Still very cool and scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they dragged the coffin up the stairs to the grounds of the mansion, and Manchester said, "Dawn was about to break, starting to send spears of bright illumination on the macabre spectacle below. When the lid was removed, we beheld the same thing we'd seen in August 1970. This was now the early part of 1974. Our quarry this time looked even more exaggerated, even more distorted than I remembered it. Far worse than even the time in the Highgate vault. Its burning, fierce eyes under the many-furrowed brow were staring, yellow at the edges with blood-red centers, unlike anything imaginable. The mouth was set in a cruel expression, the lips drawn back. With a mighty blow, a sharpened shaft of wood impaled the creature's heart. We witnessed the body shell cave in and quickly turn filthy brown, and that itself soon became a sluggish flow of inhuman slime and viscera in the bottom of the casket."
Gross.
And Manchester and his team burned the casket and pronounced that the Highgate Cemetery was purged of the vampire.
Vampire free zone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So allegedly, Manchester killed the Vampire King of Highgate Cemetery.
Well, good for him.
There was a rumor that went around that said that this did not end the feud between Manchester and Farrant, and they actually had a magical wizard's duel on Parliament Hill.
Good.
Yeah.
God, I love the 70s.
However, to this day, it is unknown if this feud between these two vampire hunters was all just like a ploy for these two guys to, who are actually maybe friends with each other.
Sell books or whatever.
Yeah, to sell their books because they both did write books.
Mm-hmm.
Or to get famous. Or if they really were just fucking haters and they wanted to be the one to banish the vampire. We still do not know that information. David Farrant died in 2019.
Oh, wow. Super recent.
Mm-hmm. But Manchester, he continued on as a vampire hunter, allegedly slaying dozens of bloodsuckers in his day. And I believe he is still alive.
Come on the pod, brother.
Seriously. But is the Highgate Cemetery still haunted? Apparently, yes, but just by the traditional spirits and ghosts that haunt the grounds. The Highgate Vampire seems to be no more.
No more dead foxes?
No more dead foxes.
Hey, if it worked, it worked. I don't know what to tell you.
That is the Highgate Cemetery and the Highgate Vampire.
That's definitely like a must visit for me if I'm ever in that area. Yeah, because that's
when
like
I
such
heard
a
about
classic one.
the feuding vampire hunters.
Come on,
I was like, that's too good.
Come on, that's too good.
That's too
Way
good.
too good. Oh, I want to be a vampire hunter so bad.
We can be. Why
Okay.
not? Self-proclaimed.
I'm self-proclaimed that.
But the problem is that if we're hunting vampires,
I have to self-proclaim myself as mentally well first.
we're gonna join them.
We do.
We're not gonna hunt. We're not gonna kill them. We're gonna join them.
We would join them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's probably not the best motto for a vampire hunter.
One pops out looking like Michael B. Jordan.
And
Are
you
you
never know.
crazy?
They could.
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
You think I'm going to kill that guy?
No.
No.
You'd live eternally with him.
100%.
Yeah. And you'd say, don't turn my husband. Just me.
I'd say maybe just you and me for a little bit.
You and me for a little bit. You can get on him later.
Or if we're eternal, like, we can all be together.
He'd be jealous.
Who, my husband?
Yeah.
Yeah, he would. That's true.
How about we finish this out with a listener story?
Let's do it.
So this is from Raven.
Ooh, hi, Raven.
Raven says, "Hi, ladies. I'm currently on my first ever shift as an EMT.
Ooh.
And on my most recent call, I had some weird stuff happen and I need to tell y'all. First, we are in the boonies of South Louisiana. It's already very weird vibes, but it's still like 83 degrees out. It's like 1 a.m. and we get a life alert button press. So unknown medical call, cool, whatever. We get there and there are 3 houses attached to the address. So we knock on the first one, no answer. We start walking down this hill, and as I'm looking at the first house, I see a grown man walking out, turn on the light, look at us, and promptly turn around and turn the lights off. We go back. He completely ignores us. What an asshole. So we go back to making our way to this cabin type house in the back of the property. There's a main part of the house and another disconnected kitchen and dining area that we go to first. We can't see shit, and all of a sudden my partner goes, "Look up." And this is what I'm greeted with.
No. Oh my God. What the fuck, dude? What the I'm literally already like on the edge.
So it is like a mannequin in the rafters.
That is terrifying.
And it has like JD Vance's eyeliner on and a bandana. And it's bald.
No, that is not even a mannequin. That looks like a human.
Raven said, "Pants shat."
I think I just shat my pants, Raven.
We decide since we don't see anything, we'll just go to the main part. There's a light on in a window, but the blinds are closed tight, so we can't see shit. Knocking isn't working, so we decide to continue around the back of the house while dispatch is continuously calling the callback numbers. We can hear the phone ringing, but no answer. We ask dispatch to send PD our way so that we can go back to our truck and wait, since they have the brighter flashlights and can actually enter the house if needed. Once they get there, we do the whole song and dance until we get to a side window that has 2 white shutters on the inside that are closed. An officer knocks on the window, no response. We continue to the back of the house. After continued attempts to make contact, we head back to the front of the house and the window shutters are fucking open. I kid you not. We had 4 people confirm that they were closed and they are now open.
It's a fucking mannequin.
An officer made contact with the man in the house and confirmed that the patient no longer even lived at this residence and that the house was completely empty.
I would quit my job.
But if the house was empty, how did the shutters open? I'm back at the station now and thoroughly creeped out, and I thought I would share.
You emailed this to us right after this happened?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Keep your mind open, keep drinking the Kool-Aid, and consider leaving a window open for EMS. Love y'all, Raven.
I would have to quit.
That picture is freaky.
I did not expect that when you...
The scroll down, I know. It was very shocking. Yeah. I didn't like that at all.
I don't like it at all. I hate it, actually.
There's something so scary about like experiencing something and being like, it's this or whatever. And then you get the call like, that house has been empty for 10 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they don't even live there. We don't know why it pinged there. That's not good at all.
Yeah, no. Time to leave.
Time to go.
Do you still work
girls
there?
And boys.
What's up?
I don't know. That was not a long time ago, but it was last year, I think. Damn. 2024.
That was their first shift.
Yeah, let me see.
Would be very interested to know anything else that happened.
I would be very interested to know that. Yeah, this was like 8 months ago.
I've always wanted to cover, which I probably will one day, but EMT ghost stories.
We've had more than a few EMT ghost stories. If you are an EMT and you've seen some weird shit or whatever, like we would love to hear from you because we've had a few.
Yeah.
And they're always very creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you're getting called presumably to something terrible happening, which like already just bad energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can only imagine just going to different people's houses. I can only imagine the kind of stuff you run into, even if it's not something tragic or whatever, is a wrong 911 or just bad vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, if you have a story you would like to share with us, you can do that at dtkpod.com/contact. And you can also find our Patreon, our social media, and our YouTube at dtkpod.com. That is the best way to reach us. And just your weekly reminder, if you haven't left a 5-star review wherever you listen, and maybe some places that you don't, make sure you give us a like, follow, and review on all the available platforms. It might not mean much to you, but it means a lot to us. And most importantly, make sure you keep that front door locked.
Make sure you keep your mind open.
And keep drinking the Kool-Aid.